Hello, hi. I'm Eddie Obeng, and this is How. Daily, I bring you a different way of shaping and controlling and managing your world. Today, I'm looking at change, and one of my favorite models, we call them PETs, people engagement tools, performance enhancement tools, possibility exploration tools, PETs. It's called JigSaw. It really came from a conversation with the editor of my very first best-selling book, All Change. And you can see there's a jigsaw puzzle on the front. And we were discussing all the tools and methods. And he was saying it would be nice if they fitted together like a jigsaw. And I explained that they actually did. So jigsaw is the way we pull them all together. Let's jump on Cube and I'll show you how that all works. So this is Cube where the sun is always shining even when it's cloudy. Let's have a look over here. So this is the new edition of All Change. So make sure you've got one. If you haven't got one, get one. This cubicle here is the All Change cubicle. It's a really useful cubicle. You can hire this for your team, for your project, and bring up to about 20 people in and work in here for real. And all the tools you need are ready. And you can always get somebody also to come and help you. And also the built-in AI will guide you. So let's start at the beginning. Where do we start? Let's start with change. Change follows rules, like physics, okay? The seed and the fruit of itself, one leads to another. Basically, adding change to change creates chaos because driving it just makes it go faster. Human beings are designed in a particular way. They can create change or they'll constrain it. It's called resistance to change. If you don't break it into chunks, you can't get anything done. You've got to stay focused. We know these rules. You know, the challenge is the opposite of how long people have not changed. Resistance will build up over time. If you try and make the thing too tight and too neat, it falls apart. Pagodas survive earthquakes because they shake as the earth shakes. So that's the starting point. But what's more interesting is that leads to what we call the types of change. So you know the laws of change, types of change. So there are 4 types of change. There's the fog. Don't know what or how or why. Don't know where we are, don't know where to go, can't stay here. This will have happened to you. Get a horrible feeling in your gut. Quest, you know what you're supposed to do, don't know how to do it. That one you feel challenged, but you go, I'm going to get there. And you try many different things maybe. Moody, we know where we've got the technology. It's like AI. We know the technology. What are we going to do with it? I don't know. Okay. Paint by numbers. We know what we're doing. We know how we're doing it. Often people think this is the only type of change. But in reality, these are all different types of change you have to deal with. And in fact, paint by numbers change is quite rare. It's like, I don't know, 10, 15, 20% if you're lucky. If you want the whole model, then you want the space cube, which not only looks at the types of change, but also how easy it is to measure progress and how the politics is driven by who wants it and who doesn't want the change. So have a look at that, pet. I'm not going to go into it. Where I want to hang out instead is here. We know why change fails. Change broken into smaller bits is called projects. We know why projects fail. They always follow the same formula. Over here, things which people talk about, cost too long, cost too much, took too long, doesn't bloody work. Team are miserable, sponsor, clients, miserable. This happens in something like 75% of the cases of people trying to drive change. Why does this happen? Let's have a look at some of the patterns. Oh my goodness, we're running late again. Last night we were on time, this time we're a month late. Yeah, you got a month late overnight, okay? Why is that? Because you actually don't know the status. You don't know where you're up to. Why? Because you haven't updated your plans. Why is that? Because you've got some complicated AI-based clarity, I don't know, upgrading thing, and you can't use it. So planning, risk prelimination, and coordination skills. If those are lacking, this yellow route up here happens to you all the time. Let's see what else that might come from. So I've got another one here. Team are miserable. Why? They had to do everything 5 times. Why? The client's requirements are met. Why is that? Because they couldn't catch up or change plans. Why? Because we couldn't review during the project. Because we had this complex method. So back to those skills again. Those skills can cause a whole lot of horrible things if they're lacking in your world. Let's look at another track. We're having to do it all late again. It's running twice. Why? We have to redo it. Team, the client's not happy. Why? We didn't involve them. Why didn't you involve them? I haven't got time to involve them. I'm overworked. The team haven't grown. The project leader can't delegate. And there's something here about, excuse me, personal leadership skills and team management skills. If you haven't got those, bad stuff happens to you all over the place. So what you realize quite quickly is that these 4 here are really important, but they're of different importance depending on the type of change. Think about it. If you're lost in the fog and you can't manage stakeholders and everyone's resisting change, you have already failed. You're stuck in the paint by numbers and you don't know how to plan and make things detailed and coordinate them. You're already you've already failed, etc., etc. So these are of less and different importance depending on what you're doing. But also, depending on what you're doing, you might want different skills. So for example, if you're in the fog, your leadership skills are about leading people through uncertainty. It's a completely different set of behaviors. They have to trust you. You have to be able to review, take one step at a time. If, on the other hand, you're driving a quest, you've got to be dynamic, energetic. That's what people will follow. So JigSaw pulls all of these things together, and it looks quite complicated, but I'll take you through it one little piece at a time. Let's start with the bits, which I'm going to cover up all the other bits so that you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so it's covered up. And let's start with the ones which you recognize. So here we've got paint by numbers, which is one of the things you already recognize quite well. And the paint by numbers, quest, fog, and movie. This is the type of change. So these things influence how the 4 different areas we know of skill have to be brought to fruition. So let's do them one at a time. Let's start with paint by numbers. So paint by numbers, basically, you're looking for a leader who's more of an adapter. They know what they're doing. They move in that direction. You're looking for a team where people feel they contribute through their knowledge, through their ability to check and get stuff done. And like all paint by numbers, you make a plan, a linear plan. One step, next step, next step, next step. Of course you do. In terms of review, it's more like being an examiner, checking to see what's working, what's not working, progress versus the plan. And in terms of stakeholder management, because people know what's coming and how it's coming, it's a lot of negotiation, very important. And you have to onboard people. So that's paint by numbers. Thing is, if you are on a quest, i.e. you know the goal, not the method, it's slightly different. You don't want somebody who's just going to keep going down the same track. Now you need a pioneer. And the team members, you want extra solvers and doers who will get through difficult stuff. But here, in terms of the actual process, you treat it like a quest and have a look at the quick guide because they'll give you a detailed diagram of this. But basically, you try and do multiple things in parallel and check them. You want to make sure that you assess things, progress versus the options which have been eliminated. And really, in terms of stakeholder management, my go-to on this is always a chap called Tim Smith, who built something called the Eden Project. You have to be an inspirer and energize people, and make them so excited about it that they'll do it for free, okay? Fog, a little bit different. Here, your team, you really want solvers, but you want carers because it's really lots of solving or you don't want them to fall out. And in the JigSaw, in the fog, you basically take one step at a time, just like you're lost in the fog. Take one step, see how it's going, check what's going on, hold hands, communicate, take the next step. And again, have a look at the quick guide. It'll pick this bit up for you. And in terms of learning review, pre-eliminator and co-creator. And then in terms of the movie, which is the last one on the list, somebody who loves the skills, a craftsman. And the team mix is different. The JigSaw is about measuring progress versus the emergence of the results. And you want somebody who's going to listen. So JigSaw brings together a lot of the pets you'll recognize, like types of change. When you go to the pet, you can select the actual mechanism, the planning, coordination, and risk management mechanism, and it tells you how you should behave in terms of learning and review and in terms of your stakeholder management. So that's JigSaw. Pulls a lot of ideas together. For me, it's the ultimate sort of yin and yang of the world because you move around the world from one to the next to the next. As the world changes, more fog comes along, then you figure out what you're going to do, then you do some of it, then you keep doing it because you know how you're going to do it, then the fog comes along again. So that's it. Use JigSaw, subscribe to the newsletter, you can learn more, bring your colleagues on because once you start working in this way, it's much easier if you just help them by getting them to read the newsletter and look for a quick guide as well. I've been Eddie Obeng. Have a wonderful change and have a wonderful outcome.